know that everything behind me soon to pass away. Ballin' on our own island.
たった一つたった一つのたった一人たった一人の私はここ
Reparations on the table, nigga, we ain't seen shit. Put us under pressure, nigga, we ain't even sweat. Came out shining like a diamond in the middle with some mess. On Martin Luther King, bitch, we coming for a check. Headed to the Capitol to stake my feelings in the mind of a radical. You can't ride with me. I'm my only witness when I handle my business. Pull it from the hip, say bye-bye, Billy. No more time for no coasting, I'm on the highway focused. I ain't even smoking, I'm just riding my emotion. Both eyes open, I'm just trying to keep calm. Put an extra set of eyes on them doing recon. Knee deep in snow, say you try and keep going. Told him get up out the cold before my nigga deform. Every old wound seem to getting retorn. I'ma write deep poems to a nigga reborn. I'ma make a statement before I make it out alive. No Channel 5, I would rather make a lie. Before the news try to make a nigga out alive. But the pain in my eyes on a much bigger prize. 501, both hands in the sky. Little do they know it's no plan to survive. I ain't finna give them no chance to decide. I'ma put they feet in both hands in the fire. Dancing in the fire like Eshak. You gon' test the water, never get both feet wet. We done overexposed the city defense to the overexposure indecent. They don't know they diving in the deep end. Ain't no way that they surviving through the weekend. Everything blown in the flash like a beacon. Drowned in the flames, it's too late to let it sink in. Got 10 ways I can be vengeful. Sitting on 10 grenades every last pinful. This guerrilla war, they don't know what they in for. I can hear them at the door trying to move in slow. I can hold them off, I got 3 shots. Taking every soul for at least 3 blocks. I can smell the fire burning through the sheetrock. Seeing bodies in the flame, nigga try and reach out. This is how you practice what you finna speak out. Thinking about the facts that they try to leave out. This is for my roots running through the deep south. Dying for a cause, what we finna beef out. If you ain't about the cause, what you finna beef out. Showing up deep, we gon' bring the streets out. Every man line up, showing what your street out. An independent state, what a nigga need now.
たった一人たった一人の
I feel the unholy spirit when it's moving through. Dark side, clearing up all the lies and the rumors too. Dark side, you say you want my life, you gotta fight me first. Dark side, come outside round here, there's nothing like church. Dark side, come and get this life work. They talked about Jesus, give them something to Babylon. Just know my whole team is battle tested and battle strong. One world speaking that Tower Babel tongue. Cold Hammurabi thinking ancient Babylon. No pun intended, Reaganomics had us under avalanche. We took off like a rocket, they was praying we could never launch into the upper echelon. You can never be yourself. Every day is Comic-Con, fast money Ramadan. Who collected Comic-Con? Cold check my vital signs. Motel 6 float. Woke up with the brightest mind. Out of sight, out an idle mind. They hate it when you idolize. We living in the final times. Guess you Ellen Keller blind. Spirit when it's moving through. Dark side, clearing up all the lies and the rumors too. Dark side, you say you want my life, you gotta fight me first. Dark side, come outside round here, there's nothing like church. Dark side, come and get this life work. Put my soul on the altar, I never offer a sacrifice. The blood that we need for the lamb ain't never acting right. I take my path tonight, knowing that I might have to fight. I probably grab a knife and a 9. I guess I'm packing light, focus on the now. Just as much as the afterlife, I recognize the spirit is only taking up half the fight. Stairway to heaven, He won't make it up half a flight. He working, making bacon bits, probably out on the Sabbath night. Shoot for the moon, hoping to hit a satellite. You can ask him why when they see me, they call on Adonai. When we both know at the most he telling you half a lie. Feel the transition begin to happen when passing time. I came back in the sky, just like an astronaut, to say you selling Africans out. See you and asking Mike, and it's sad to say they really had it bad for Christ. And I hear the Habasha thinking they are the half is
Holy Spirit when it's moving through.
dark side, dark side.
Clearing up all the lies and the rumors too.
Dark side, dark side.
You say you want my life, you gotta fight me first.
Dark side, dark side.
Come outside round here, there's nothing like church.
Dark side, dark side.
Come and get this life work.
There we go. Power to the dark side, family. Power to the dark side. What's going on? Y'all already know we got to give a special praise to the most beautiful goddess of science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, Stemia, whose image is the most beautiful Whoopi Goldberg. Definitely appreciate everybody coming through. Shout out to Planet Free Spirit in the mix. What's good with you? What's good with you, Arena Uncensored? Shout out to Black Sun. Me and Black Sun, we gonna be getting it in tonight. We definitely do got a debate tonight. Is Putin justified in the invasion of Ukraine? So I'm gonna be chopping that up. Definitely gonna be chopping that up. Can't let him slide with that one. Authentically was good. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward, to the debate. I'm looking forward to getting a chance to cook. But before we kind of get into that, I want to talk about the same thing. And I brought this up last time when we got into it. We kind of talked. We was like discussing the apology of Kyrie Irving. I think the first time, right? Now, if you notice, I said it last time when he made his apology. His apology was about Jewish. Not once did he yet say that he was not an Israelite. And another point I want to make too that he did that was real clear to me, besides just separate itself with the Jewish rhetoric. Y'all know that's the typical Israelite play, call them Jewish people. So automatically, right? He says that what brought him to basically research who he was or YHWH was his name. He found out that his name, has some type of attachment to YHWH, basically, right? Shout out to Karate Introvert. Definitely appreciate you in the building. Power to the dark side, God body. Yeah. So, his mom basically named him after some YHWH type rhetoric or whatnot. And so, the brother is on the hunt right now. He's been on the hunt. Shout out to Kyrie for being on the hunt. Like, I definitely do respect it. My thing is that I would like to see from Kyrie, honestly. I kind of just like, to me, it depends on, a lot of people want to see him stand. I didn't want to see him apologize again. Shout out to Al Capone, power to the dark side, God. I really didn't want to see him apologize again, just for the simple fact of, he had done enough, right? He had done enough. We watched a broadcaster literally say, refer to black women that was playing basketball during a college basketball game. What's good, hood therapy? When they seen He seen these women playing college basketball. He referred to them as nappy-headed hoes. You know, this nigga was able to just apologize. I'm sorry, it's like 8 big ass hawks. Nah, it's like 10 big ass hawks right now. I'm sorry, I'm big on birds, like especially. I'm big on nature in general. It's like 10 big ass hawks I'm looking at. You rarely see hawks, big ones, especially like together. They swarming too. Oh shit, it's a bunch of. So anyway, I'm sorry. Yeah, I need to keep my eye on it, bro. So, uh, put you up there too. So this dude was able to call these black women during the game, right? The game is going on. This dude is broadcasting the game. He refers to them as nappy headed hoes. He just apologized and we moved the fuck on. Just like that. He apologized, we moved the fuck on. It was a mistake. He didn't mean to say, call them nappy headed hoe. I don't know how you accidentally call somebody nappy headed hoe on accident, but he didn't mean to do that. And we moved the fuck on. That was it. We watch people like, I mean, we done just like been through a lot of shit, especially recently. We got Prince Charles that dressing up like, you know what I mean, like a Nazi. You got, they let that nigga slide with a fucking apology. The nigga wore a fucking Hitler outfit, you know what I'm saying, for Halloween. He got way more influence than goddamn Kyrie Irving. But he get the slide with just an apology. It was an accident. He made a mistake. He didn't know better. But Kyrie Irving, after declaring that the earth is flat, we gonna believe that he know better. All right, y'all, get off my ass, cuz, like, for real. I'm trying to drive. And you get back on the sidewalk, nigga. Damn. Pick your mind up. You got a line right now. So, like, think about that shit. This nigga declared that the earth is fucking flat. We gonna hold him up to a higher standard than the Prince of goddamn England. Make it make sense. You can't. Oh shit. I'm coming in the wrong way. You can't. What's good, Juju? So it just kind of shows you on a consistent basis the standard shifts when it comes to black people. Or who makes the mistake. Certain shit I'm just not gonna be able to too much tolerate. And I didn't want to see Kyrie apologize. I truly did. But I get it. The nigga wanna play basketball. And, you know, at the end of the day, we can say what we want, but basketball is a major reason, played a major part in why he was even able to do what he did. You know what I mean? Like it played a major part in him even being able to just do something as simple as what's good with you front line, what's good with you guys. With even us being able to have a discussion of who black people are. Because, we pretend like it don't matter who black people, who we believe we are. But part of the reason why we don't move together, because we don't all believe that we the same people. And you see that on a regular basis. And we only have the discussion usually when it breaks out either in a debate or in an argument. But there needs to be a discussion. Something needs to be laid out on the table on who we are and how we gonna move forward as a people, right? Even like when we talked about the ADOS movement, right? One of the main issues that a lot of people had was how do we define black? So once again, we was at the table coming down to the same issue. Who the fuck are we? Same thing. And it happens on a regular basis. So no, if we talking about like, creating a situation where, where black people actually have an identity, then that's not something to apologize for, especially when you apologize to people who play a vital role in you losing your identity. The Jewish community, they're the issue in the first place. It's funny how, they can conveniently bring their ass over to Africa and they show up at the Limba tribe, they show up to the Igbo people, they drop off a fucking Torah, lying to these people, claiming that, hey, you guys practice the practices from our book. No, bitch, nigga, you wrote your fucking book off of the practices of the Limba and the Igbo, lying ass nigga. What's good with you all, heart and grit? What's good, God? Like, let's just be real. Yeah, I gotta do better, Juju. I ain't gonna lie. Birds be kind of I've been seeing hawks lately. It's been crazy. I had an owl land on my roof, and then a fucking cardinal landed on my roof at like 2 a.m. What's the chances of that shit, right? A cardinal at 2 a.m. And it was like raining. But anyway, like, and this is what I be meaning by it. In some ways, we have to understand that we could be Jews or Israelites and still detach ourselves from the book that they've written, that they've had control over. Like it still can go twofold. Because part of the reason why they need you to attach yourself to the book is because that's the only thing that keeps them a fucking live with they lie. It's a lie. They had to bring a Torah. The reason why they had to bring a Torah to the Limba tribe is because the Limba tribe was the living fucking Torah. They're the living Torah. The Igbo people were the living Torah. They, the Israel, living Torah. These people show up with some shit to try to, they need that. They need tribes. They need these black tribes in order to give themselves some sort of life in history. But now, when Kyrie Irving, who could be he could be somebody from the Limba. We don't know what fucking tribe Kyrie Irving come from. He could be Limba tribe. He could be Igbo. He could be fucking from Beta. We don't fucking know. So now he claims that he has lineage or Israelite descent. It's an issue. It's only convenient for you to allow black people to be Israelites when you need to validate your fake ass history. We got to stop keeping these fucking people alive. That's what I be saying. Like, I fuck with my Israelite brothers tough. Y'all gotta stop letting these Jewish people be alive though with this bullshit. These folks showing up and making it seem like the Limba is practicing their traditions. Hell no. Nigga, the Limba been practicing that shit before a fucking Israel or a Jewish person was ever even thought of. Shout out to Angel in the building. What's good? What's good, J. Cal? What's good? What you got? What's good? Well before. So even if you like, Like it's crazy because in order for the Beta Israel, who they call who also they would call like the Ethiopian Jews, in order for them to get back into a fucking land that they established, because remember, they give it away in the book, right? Remember what they give it away, right? They give away the fact that Jerusalem was already Jerusalem before they came in. Remember that. They come in and conquer the land of Jerusalem. That already belonged, that was already the city of peace by the people that we call Beta Israel today. Those Ethiopians was running all the way up through that land. You can say they ran up the bottom half, the Egyptians had the top half of that land. Like, let's just be real about it. Now those people are shut out of their own land, and in order for them to even be accepted into a fucking tradition that they originally created, a tradition that's based off of them, they very like it's not based. See, that's the thing. Y'all think that they living based off the fucking book. Y'all gotta stop that shit. These people ain't living that way based off the book. The book was written based off of the way that these people live. It's written off of the way that these people live, how they eat, how they breathe, they festivals, all of that shit, how they supposed to be worshiping, all of that. When you talk about the Bible and all, like what we have today, these people, why do you think that when they go back, none of these tribes, though you see the traditions of Israelites in these different what we call African tribes, you see those Israeli traditions, but they don't have a written book. Because that ain't what the fuck we do. Nigga, we live the shit. They have to write it down, my nigga, so they can do the fucking mathematics behind it. They gotta add the steps to it. Nigga, you don't know what the fuck you doing, you just doing it. That shit, y'all don't even understand what it be meaning when they say shit is written in your heart, nigga. That shit is in your DNA. Already coded in. Already. So no, there's no, like, we can't compromise with these people. There's no compromise. We don't need no fucking Bible or none of that to prove we no damn Israelites. Period. They need you because you are the embodiment of the shit that they wrote down in order to even exist in history. They have to attach themselves to you. That's like, y'all don't even get what the war is. They're showing up with a book, but no fucking tradition. That's all they got. They show up with the book, no real culture, no fucking history of a culture. But hey, you Africans who've been here doing this shit forever, you niggas got this shit from us. Like, nigga, we was doing that before you even wrote that shit down. They do the same thing they do when they go to a fucking safari. Nigga, they go in, they see how you move, they write it down, they study the shit, then they come back and set up traps. Y'all don't understand, we see the same thing play out. We talk about it on a regular basis, right? And it's funny, right? I'm gonna mention that me and Black Son is debating Ukraine tonight, because actually you look at Ukraine is more than likely the Hittite. You can see in Ukraine, that's actually where they domesticated the horses for war at. So the Ukrainians and the fucking rest, all of them, these are the fuckers that came in, bro. These are the people. They are problem. They are a problem. Don't think for 1 second that the Ukrainians and these niggas is a fucking issue too. They some of the first to come in stealing, pretending. Nah, nigga. Yeah, we talk about the horses being domesticated and all of that. Ukrainians did that shit. And it's funny though, because there was already a people living there. Remind you, the same way that we see David sack the kingdom or the city of Jerusalem, meaning that the city already existed, we see the same thing happen with the Hittites. They conquered Hattusa. Who did they conquer it from? Who did they take Hattusa from? The Hattians. The Hattians. They stole these people's language. They stole their culture. They stole their capital city. And today you look at them as if they are the actual people. They're accredited with a lot of the stuff. But look at what happened. The people who came in and conquered the Hatti people, who we now know as the Hittites, had no fucking culture. They ain't have no language. That's why I be saying, like, we be allowing this slick ass shit to go down. Stop. We gotta let certain shit go. We gotta let certain shit go in certain aspects and understand it's war. You at war. Every time, and niggas can complain and say what they want, but we know for a fact it's shit in the Bible that gotta get cleaned up. Shout out to CB420. What's good? Power to the dark side, and y'all, man, what's good? What's good? And I'll drop the link too, man. Anybody want to jump on too? Like, for real. Man, let me drop the link too. Anybody got anything to say? I'm gonna play it. I got a little clip too. I'm gonna play. I got a clip too. I'm gonna play. I think Mongo sent me this clip actually. So at the end of the day, you talking about war on not only our image, but the impact that we made onto the world. The impact that we made to the world or on this planet. They are taking every fucking thing away. We can't allow it. That's what, to me, and I don't want to, I'm not going to dwell on it because of the situation, but that to me, what I was kind of disappointed in watching the Hebrews to Negroes movie. You know what I'm saying? And watching that movie, everything that was African or that would have been started by people native to that land or aboriginal to that land was accredited to people who came from Asia. And it's a dangerous game when you do that. It's a dangerous game when we accept the curse of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. And notice I said the curse of Ham, Shem, and Japheth. It's a curse of all three. This whole planet is yours and your ancestors. The curse and the trick is to get you to give that shit up to Ham, Shem, and Japheth. You giving away your spiritual right. That's the game. Some of these, we can separate some of the dark, and this is one of the debates I had with Yara. Yara talked about this, was separating the dogma from the principles. It's the principles that we need. It's the principles that we stand on. The dogma is where we end up bumping heads all of the time. It's got to be ways that we can maneuver around the dogma. We can't have a creation story dealing with people of a dark race where, and the reason why I say a creation story, because there's two creation stories in the Bible. Yeah, you get Adam and Eve, the first one, which even in that one is still outside of 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 of, of the continent of Africa. But the second one, the one of Noah, the one where the boat lands on the mountain in the middle of Turkey. And I'm telling you, notice on a regular basis, Turkey seems to be a strong point for all of these nations. Hattusa, the capital of the Hittites, was in Turkey. Constantinople, the capital for the Roman Empire, was in Turkey. Same thing when you get into even the Byzantine. You get into the Greeks. A major part of the Greeks was getting all the way over into Turkey. I don't know, the Berbers, the Star and the Crescent, the Cross. All of these things seem to go back to the same place, Turkey. We at war with, and I'm not saying that there may not have been an original text that we necessarily created on our own. But what I am saying is, oh yeah, let me make sure I drop the link. My fault. What I am saying is that what we have right now, it ain't ours. It's not ours. Our enemy designed it. They pick what language would be the language that it should be written in, spoken in. They decided these people were the redactors. They decided what needed to be in the book, what needed to be out. These people decided what books were pseudepigrapha, what books were canon. We don't know. I can make the argument against you all day. When you show up with the book of Jasher, because of these people, I can make the argument all day that, yo, that's a pseudo book. That book is pseudo. I can say that because the same people that, that we want, that's who gets to control that. That's who's in control of that whole idea. They control what verses was real or was in the original codex, which ones weren't. They get to decide, you know, uh, all kind of stuff. You know what I mean? They're putting the precepts in the book. You open up your Bible. Your Bible already has precepts in there for you. When you reading it, you might see a little number that say 20. It might point you to 23. And you look down at the bottom. 23 is telling you to go back and line this page up with Daniel. You know what I mean? 9 or something. So they already got the precepts in there for you. Just think about that. When you first become an Israelite and you join one of these camps, what do they have to do? They have to give you a whole new precept package. Why? Because your Bible already they got a fucking precept in there that's setting you up for failure. You got James Strong doing the translation. Who the fuck is James Strong? How is James Strong a benefit to us? Is James Strong a friend or an enemy? It's an issue. I tell, like, and I don't like. You're not gonna get away with that Ethiopian Bible shit. I'm telling you right now. I keep trying to tell y'all. Those are all white people in that book, man. No, I ain't gonna say white people. Those are all Greco-Romans in that book. Every picture, everything. That shit is an issue. And ever since we've been trying to conform a culture that we've been living probably for thousands of years to a book that these people just put together a few hundred years ago, we've been having issues ever since. We've been having issues keeping our land. We've been having issues keeping our keeping our sanity, keeping our culture, keeping our language. You're having trouble keeping the feast days. You're having trouble keeping Torah. Ever since they gave you Torah, for some reason, we having trouble keeping Torah. What's the issue? We didn't have trouble before. We never really had that type of trouble before. Right, right. Cyrus, as a messianic figure. Not only Cyrus, though, in Yameh, Nebuchadnezzar is referred to as my servant. That's why you got to know when the enemy is on some bullshit. I ain't saying you throw the baby out with the bathwater, but damn. We have got to create something that we were in full control of. Whenever we read a verse, the dude got, nah, man, that ain't right. You got to get it in the Hebrew. We got to go into the Hebrew and get it. Nigga, write a book with the correct translation and quit playing. No, I'm not. Like, no, I'm not going to the fucking Hebrew. Present a Bible, nigga. Present a Bible. I'm not going into no Greek no more. I'm not going into no fucking. I'm not following y'all niggas around into that shit. It is what it is in English. Until you niggas create a new Bible. Period. Shout out to Moore in the building. What's good with you, Orthodox? Panel open too, guy. Anybody want to jump on, man? Anybody want to jump on? But we can't convert our culture and conform it to some shit that we just ain't had no control of. This, like, let's just be honest. This is Constantine's book. This is Constantine's book. People are walking around with Constantine's book. We know what year Constantine's book was written. They're going to people who've been practicing a certain culture and a certain way of life well before that book ever even existed or thought of, before Constantine ever even thought to assimilate it, or to assemble it, to assemble it. Well before he even thought to assemble it. And we're saying, hey, you guys got that from this. No. Constantine assembled this book based on Beta Israel, based on tribes like the Limba, based on tribes, certain Bantu speaking tribes, based on certain tribes, and we would say Igbo, based on these different. This is where the fuck they get that shit from. This is where they get it from. But in order for you to even really take what you claim was rightfully yours, you're trying to fit in. You're still trying to fucking fit in. We don't fit in. We are trendsetters. We don't fit in when we eating popcorn, niggas. Niggas is goddamn At the movie theater, shooting popcorn up in the air and shit. Nigga, we don't fit in when we walking. We don't fit in when we talking. We don't fit in when we playing basketball. We don't fit in when we singing. We don't fit in when we hear a beat fucking come on. Nigga, we don't fucking fit in. We can wear the same outfit and still not fit the fuck in with nobody else. Nigga, your uniform gonna look way different on you, nigga, than anybody else. Period. Your hat just sit different on your head, nigga. Like, stop playing. Like, man, look. Matter of fact, yeah, let me go ahead and get this clip. Let me get this clip, man, because I just gotta say, man, shout out to the IUIC. These folks still putting in that work, man, showing up deep everywhere. So let me show y'all this real quick.
King Christ, who's the King Christ? Worldwide, 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 worldwide. Some of us used to be in the club.
Yeah, that was outside of the Barclays Center. Yeah, and so I don't know if y'all know. What's good, Michael? Power to the dark side, God. What's good? What's good? I don't know if y'all know, but they showed up deep as hell, and Kyrie was asked about them folks being outside. And you know, I don't care what nobody say. Ain't nothing gonna strike more fear in people's heart because it's different when we just out there, right? Like, yeah, it's different when we out there in total chaos or we just burning shit down and niggas is amped and the music. It's different, but it hit different for 'em when we organize and niggas is on one cadence. That shit fucking hit different, nigga. They don't believe, and niggas don't believe that you can get this many niggas together and they all be on one fucking cadence, nigga.
King
Just
Christ,
listen to this.
who's the King Christ? Worldwide, 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 worldwide. Some of us used to be in the club.
Come on, man. Come on. We done seen the man already do the 800-man march in Memphis. They did like a 1,200-man march in Philly. Now they showing up in Brooklyn. And where the fuck is the Torah onlys at? Hey, I just got reminded again. Where the fuck is you niggas? Yo, y'all niggas is letting your house, man. Look, man. Y'all niggas getting that work right now from your house side. I just want y'all to know that. That's the L. This is an L, Torah only. I don't know where the fuck y'all at. But you niggas gonna have to probably end up lining up. You'll get your IUI, nigga. You niggas finna be united in Christ, nigga, because you niggas ain't united, period. You need, and I don't give a fuck what we were united in, as long as niggas is united. Like, seriously, I don't care if it's in Christ, those above, goddamn. I would like it to be Stimia. That's my personal preference. Stimia gonna always be in my heart. But damn it, if it gotta come under Christ for niggas to actually unite, nigga, hey, give me a goddamn. I don't know about the purple shirt. I'm telling you, I gotta get my Sakari gear. Shout out to my nigga Gorilla Hebrew, man. I gotta get my Sakari gear though. I don't know about the IUIC gear. You know what I'm saying? They shit straight. I might, united in Christ, but with the Sakari gear on. Can I be IUIC wearing Sakari fringes and gear and shit? I wonder. Because they got more of my swag, you know what I'm saying? They got like the Dickies and shit like that. They got shit I actually wear. You know what I mean? I ain't gotta like change up nothing. I'm fucking with Sakari. So yeah. You niggas gotta like Torah only. You niggas gotta get y'all shit together, man. Like I ain't. Where the fuck is y'all at? Niggas is united, lined up and everything, ready to go for Christ. Where the fuck is the niggas lining up at for David? Like at this point, the shit is looking bad. Right? It's just getting sad right now. Niggas gotta put some shit together, bro. Somebody gotta be looking like they got the spirit of David on them right now. Like, what's going on? That's the next level. And see, that's the crazy part. The Torah only's got the chance to take the shit even further. Because when you look at it, nigga, a nigga get like the spirit of Joshua or spirit of David on him, my nigga. Ain't no way in fuck black people gonna be in this predicament for much longer. Now I be looking at you niggas funny, like, hey man, the niggas can't be on no fucking Joshua or David type shit. Them niggas would have never went through this shit. Ever. No, bro. We got to get it together. We got a lot of work to do. Black people in general. I need to see the Torah only step up. Right now, y'all getting y'all ass whooped. Y'all down on the scoreboard to your house shot right now. I'm just looking at the score. Like, look at this shit. Like, y'all think I'm playing? Look at this shit, man. Where the fuck is the Torah only?
Who's the king? 12 tribes. Worldwide. 12 tribes. Some of us used to be in the club.
Yeah. Where is the Torah only version of that, nigga? Y'all got to get that shit together. That's a L. I gotta hold that one. I'm just being real. I'm over here. I'm just checking the scoreboard. That's all I did. I glanced at the scoreboard. Was like, damn, Yahawashi up right now. Yahawashi up right now. Like, damn. With Darshai had to admit the Israelites is winning right now. Torah only, you niggas gonna have to admit Yahawashi up on the scoreboard on David right now, man. You niggas gotta get that shit together. It's almost like, man, y'all need me over on Torah only or something like that, bro. I don't think nobody will hold David down like I held David down. Like, I'm just gonna be real. I don't think nobody was holding David down like I held David down. I was putting in that work. You niggas been slacking. You niggas been getting beat off. Y'all been allowing these niggas to run Yahawashi, run a straight mud hole through y'all, man. I'm just being 100. Like, Yahawashi up right now. Like 100%. So yeah. Let's see what we got. Let's see. We dropped the link again too. Fact. Yeah, hey, Christ is up right now, man. Like, niggas can't even like play no games right now. You don't think Yahawashi winning right now, nigga. You fucking sleeping. You can't be looking at the score. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's okay not to look at the score. Sometimes you just need to play hard. You know what I'm saying? And you know, things that change or turn out for the better. But like, yo, man, right now, y'all got these folks up.
Peace.
Yo.
What's good?
Peace. What's good? What you got?
Chilling. What's good? Yeah. I seen Kyrie was back. He played last night. Yeah, I think yeah, we need to use that as a rallying I can't even say it, a rallying cry, you know, what's going on, and I think that they are taking advantage of it. Now, do the Old Testament Hebrews, they don't affiliate themselves with the New Testament Hebrews? Do they consider them Israelites? Blue ain't even paying me no mind. All right, I got you. Yeah, I was asking that question because at this point, if that's the case, they should just put down their little differences and then just kind of rock out, kind of go with the wave and push this whole thing forward. I mean, they got a lot of momentum from what happened with this whole Kyrie Irving situation, him bringing this argument to the table. But I think that when you're talking about this thing with the white Jewish community, is a lot of underlying things that they feel as though it's anti-Semitic that a lot of us are not totally aware of. So one of the things is when they classify, when blacks say that they're Jews, when you looked at the German philosophers going into the early 20th century, they was writing propaganda suggesting that Jews are actually Negroes, and their heritage began with Negroes. No different than it's kind of like some theories that talk about the Italians in the same way that they got Negro in them at some point in time. They were conquered. We know for certain that some parts of Europe was conquered by the Moors for 700 years. So, and we know that during the Spanish Inquisition, that they expelled, they say they expelled the Jews from Spain, but they also expelled the Moors because the Moors was actually controlling Spain at the time. And it was based off of the white purity, this white purity doctrine that they held on to. And so that is one of the underlining aspects of when a black person come out and say that, well, I'm a Hebrew, because a lot of the German philosophers, they use that going into the rise of Adolf Hitler to justify why Germans shouldn't be fucking with them, because they are mixed with, they have a heritage where it goes back to them mixing at some point in time with black people, and we can't mix with them because they got black blood in them. So that's why even when some Jews, when you read about the when they was passing the Nuremberg laws, they will look at your heritage, even if you was a Jew, to see how far you go back, and if you're connected somehow to a particular group of people that most likely was intermingling with Negroes. So when Kyrie Irving went up there and was like, from Hebrews to Negroes, the name of it is in itself will raise some red flags with Jews, the white Jewish community, because that was some of the rhetoric that was being used by Germans to justify why they were being segregated and why they eventually began to be exterminated. Because one of the justifications was that they got Negro blood in them, and it was some German philosophers that were just calling them Negroes, that they Negroes too. So that's part of why they spoke up against that. Not to say it ain't true. That's why you notice that they never say that it's not true. They never say that it's not true or false. They don't get it to that. They just saying that, well, no, this is the rhetoric that they use in Nazi Germany to begin to, separate us from Germans and eventually begin to exterminate us. So when they hear something like that, even if it's from a black person, they're going to jump on that. So that's pretty much what you got going on with that. But you have a whole nother side of it that's saying, well, is it true? If a black person say, well, that my heritage go back to Hebrews, or that I'm a Hebrew, that why do you feel as though that you have to attack the black person for saying that if it's true? You know, but that really don't matter to them because once again, it's based off of this whole thing where they don't really want that to be out there like that. So
No, that's a fact.
yeah, so that's what you got going on. Yeah, so that's why it was like it was on the one hand, okay, you threw the anti-Semitic tag on them. And then one of the criteria is like, yeah, well, you have to I guess you get taught, so you know, get taught some shit or training or whatever they were saying, some type of lessons that he had to learn about what really is going on, because they can't really say this publicly because then it's like, okay, well, is it true? Well, if it's true, then why is, you know? So they have to pull them to the side and be like, you know, well, yeah, yeah, this is what the situation is, and this is why we don't really we ain't really rocking out with that documentary because you know it was statements that was made by Adolf Hitler that said that the blacks were the original Jews, and as what Blue was saying earlier, you have a whole group of people that, you know, they practice the heritage of Judaism, and so once again with the invasions of Moors and them controlling Europe and them being alongside Sephardic or Semitic Jews, you know, they formed a culture as a result of that, and I think that if it's not from actually mixing in, because you got a lot of theories as to what the Ashkenazi Jews are. Some people believe that they were just converts to the religion. Others believe that there was some intermixing that went on with them and the original Jews. Whatever the case is, you know, we know that that the culture existed before the Ashkenazi Jew. So all that is, you know, what's kind of like, you know, being pushed to the side, and they'll just throw the anti-Semitic tag on them just to get people to refrain from even engaging the argument and open up the door for that type of conversation. So really an information war. They want to pull Kyrie Irving to the side because, you know, Kyrie Irving is learning. He's not in a position where he's got total grasp of the information as what others may have. So they want to pull him to the side, like, yo, yeah, you got to come to us and we're going to show you what, you know, what actually is going on. So that's why Farrakhan came out and was like, well, if you're going to do that, let's all have this conversation. You know, let us be present with you when we having this conversation, because we know the history as well. You know what I'm saying? And the history and the part that you're leaving out. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, so it's just like this whole thing going on now, you know, now that the but obviously you see Kyrie Irving pretty much already made his stance and made his decision. You know what I'm saying? He is a person that is standing on, you know, or just trying to find out, you know, himself, and he's learning and he's looking and he understands that history, the way it was taught to him, is not true, it's not totally factual, and he's trying to gather up information to kind of figure out where he's going to fall in. And so I don't think that that's ever going to leave Kyrie Irving. I don't think that, you know, even with the apology, even the way he did the apology, some people think that he you know, because I've seen a couple of streams say he would, nah, they ain't buck break him. He's just playing the politics. He get, you know, with a person of his caliber, he did what he was supposed to do with the star power that he has and the media attention that he has. He did what he was supposed to do. So he brought attention to that that argument. He gave light to a documentary that presented some information that was counter mainstream, and it got, you know, a lot of people watching it. So now a lot of people are asking questions. So yeah, he did his job. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, he's gonna eventually go back and, you know, he played last night, so you know he gonna go back and be a basketball player, you know. But yeah, he did what he was supposed to do. Now it's time for people to now, with the capability in it, that have the information, you know, those Israelites, because I don't really totally believe everything that the Israelites are saying, but you know, people that are of that elk, they have to now come together and put together information that proves that, you know, what he's saying is factual and historically accurate. Now, I've seen most of the documentary from Negroes to Hebrews, or from Hebrews to Negroes, and it was pretty detailed, you know, as far as with the arguments. A lot of the stuff that I heard already, but he actually did interviews with individuals in Africa, and he was actually showing, you know, this heritage. We know for certain from what I read, when you had the expulsion of Moors from Spain, a lot of the Muslims would there was a segment of the Islamic population that was going into northern Africa and began to migrate into West Africa. And you see that one of the things that they did was they began to push out the people that were practicing Judaism. So from reading those documents, you see that there was already a Jewish presence or people practicing what we call Judaism, or, you know, those traditions, even before the Muslims began to come in to into West Africa, you know. So yeah, that's just kind of showing that, yeah, there was a presence of Africans that were there that was practicing that religion for, you know, some time. So how far do it go back? I heard other things suggesting that there was some sort of migration from East Africa, you know, that there was like this route that they took, I think, going into as far as Tanzania, then going across into West Africa, some type of route that they took. And you've seen semblances of the writings. I think it was like writings that they would correlate with. I think it was a war that happened in I forget exactly where it was at, but I guess you could say in that area, that northeastern African area, you know, that Middle Eastern section, modern day Middle East, where as though when they lost the war, they began to migrate, and these were the Israelites. So like I said, that was like years ago that I read that information, but yeah, all these different theories that I see suggesting that there were some sort of that the Israelites were of African descent, I guess you could say. There were a portion that were of African descent that eventually made their way to West Africa. So I mean, either way you look at it, at the end of the day, I feel as though that, you know, if it's a religion, then from that standpoint, why are they preventing Kyrie Irving from expressing his religious views? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I mean, they're violating, like, you know, on all different types of levels. Like, you know, even during the interview, they're asking him, like, you know, to further explain something that he never made a comment on. He
Right.
just posted the link. Like, explain what? What are you talking about? Look at the documentary. Look at it. I ain't got really nothing. Obviously, I didn't have nothing to say on it because I didn't even post any comment when I made the post. So he's like, okay, it's your responsibility now to explain. But that just exposed them, because it really backfired when they were overly excessive with their punishment. It
Mm-hmm.
backfired. So they had to take a step back and then reevaluate it and deal with it a little with some softer hands. And then they took the leash off, if you ain't noticed. they took the leash off of some of the house Negroes, and this exposed a lot of shit, bro. When you look at it, right? You see, like for example, Shannon Sharp, right?
Yep.
When Shannon Sharp, when this shit first dropped, and the Jewish community were going extra hard. What was Shannon Hart? What was Shannon Sharp doing? He was buck dancing like a
Calling
motherfucker.
Kyrie stupid. Yep.
Calling him stupid and all of that. Charles Barkley is doing that. Shaq doing the same thing. Then all of a sudden, when they seen that it was a lot of the black community that was backing him with because of the penalty was just crazy. It was just like, okay, you're suspended until further notice and until you meet this criteria. And then Woj read some of it. Like, yeah, he has to go through some type of history lessons or some shit like to talk about that, and you know, some old shit like an apology. And then it was like, okay, he sends
Jaylen Brown shut that shit down.
Yeah, and Jaylen. That's when Jaylen Brown, because he represents the Players Association. Like, yo, what exactly are y'all doing? Like, how long is the suspension, and why is it so severe? Just because he made this post. So and now it was like, oh, okay, apologize about it. So Kyrie did it in a very slick way because he's playing a game. So sometimes black community have to understand the situation. Like everybody's not like a radical like Khalid Muhammad that's just all the way. No, he has to play the game and shit because we don't want that motherfucker losing his money. But at the same time, it's like, okay, he decided to take this role and he wanted to bring certain truths to light. So we got to support it just on that level. You know what I'm saying? So
there's way more power in seeing him wearing his fringes to the game than his ass not being able to play no more.
Yeah. So yeah, when he made his apology, it was like, okay, I'm gonna do it the same way I posted the motherfucking joint over the internet. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna verbally say it like publicly. I just posted the joint where it said, oh, if I offended anybody, sorry. That wasn't enough for them. He tried to give $500,000 to the ADL, they gave it back. So what exactly did they want? What they want? They want him to be up there looking all silly and him like apologizing, and nah, he wasn't going to do all that. So they was trying to stick to their guns. Kyrie wasn't budging, and then now everybody else is looking like, well, yo, what's really going on, bro? Because I don't see. And then you had Adam Silver coming out talking about, well, I don't think that he's anti-Semitic, you know. So if you don't think that he's anti-Semitic, he didn't make no comment on the link that he posted. What the fuck is the problem? What's going on? Why is it? And even how the media worded shit. You know what I'm saying? If I'm a person that ain't looking to what exactly happened, I would think that he made the documentary himself and shit. I would think that he had some type of connection to the actual documentary that was being brought up for as you know, speculation or you know, assuming that this was some type of anti-Semitic thing that was being done. So yeah. And those black coons that was out there that was representing the mainstream media were wording it in a way that kind of gave off that appearance, you know. So yeah, bro, it was just a mess. It was just a mess the whole way through. You know what I mean? But you know, he got through it, and I think that he got a win on this one because they had to backtrack. You know what I'm saying? Once the Players Association got involved, because they're gonna hold his feet to the fire and say that, well, y'all have to be more specific on a penalty that y'all doing. Because even when he, you know, gave out the olive branch, you know what I'm saying? He threw out the olive branch and like, oh no, we're not going to take your money. What did they want? They wanted to buck break him. That's what they really wanted. The real buck breaking, like, gotta have him go up there apologizing, or he's going to go on an apology tour, and we're going to take him to the Schomburg, you know, museum, and we're going to record it as he's looking at the. Nah, I mean, who they did that to before? They did that to somebody else. They took him to the Holocaust Museum, and
yeah, Deshaun Jackson.
Yeah, they took him to the end and they recorded it and shit. And how do you feel about now what you said? Now, tell us now what you. Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't know all this shit. Get the fuck out of here. We're not doing all that shit. You wasn't doing all that shit. You know what I'm saying? You know, this shit is.
He's like, bro, I'm just trying to play football. He's like, what the?
You know what I mean? This is crazy, bro. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember they took that man all the way out there. I'm like, man, that shit.
Yeah,
They need to
like,
have the conversation. I want to see y'all prove y'all come from people who didn't exist. I want to see this shit. Let's quit playing games, yo. Like talk to Ronald Dunk. Burn that nigga on. If I even say he been dying to have that conversation, which I mean, honestly, I think that discussion, I don't know. Yeah, I prefer he don't. But
who's that?
Some pseudo shit.
He's talking
that's
about
the dude that made the movie, the documentary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, he said they had an interview with him. I think Cesario was interviewing him, and he was asking him, and he was like, "Yeah, I offered to come out there, but don't nobody want to have that conversation with me." I mean, he know. I mean, from his perspective, he know his shit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that he know enough information to confound them motherfuckers because it's like everybody in the room lying and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody in the room lying. So it's like, yo, like, at least he got like some truths with his shit. You know what I mean? These people, as what you were saying earlier, they just got this book. Now the book that's up for question, right? And this is what was funny when this is how I would get motherfuckers so easily when they playing with that book, right? With this old exegesis shit, right? None of them books were supposed to be together. You know what I'm saying? When they made those books was not designed to be together. So motherfucker taking it on some, 1,000 years. Where did you get that from? Oh yeah, we got to go over to the New Testament and one day is 1,000 years. That shit, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? You know what I'm saying? So they taking some shit like two motherfuckers from different time periods, most likely. They had different, like, cultural ways or whatever. They're taking down these books and combining it together and saying that, this is, really talking about this. And like, nah, bro. No. So that is what would get exposed. You know what I'm saying? So when you get the book out of the way, what's going to be left over there? Well, who was just practicing this shit?
The culture.
Yeah. Who was practicing this shit?
Dead on that.
And then we know for certain that, right? We know that the Ashkenazi Jews, you know what I'm saying? The so-called Ashkenazi Jews, they was like in Europe and they wasn't practicing no Judaism. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like
circumcision and shit. That's all African shit.
Yeah, so it's a rap with that whole thing. You know what I mean? They confided it into the book, like, different than what they doing with everything else. They still doing that shit today. Right. They still doing that shit today. I was just watching a joint, right, where they was talking about it said something about like the founders of I guess remember you had the boy bands in the 90s, right? I forgot the name that they used, right? So you had, Boys the Men, Jodeci and all the motherfuckers, right? But then in the mid 90s, you had like the back. I think the New Kids on the Block and all the motherfuckers. They came out, going into the early like 93, 94, and then the Backstreet Boys and all them motherfuckers, right? So they had this, I think the founders of something. And then they had the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC. That's the other one. NSYNC on there, right? So everybody, all the black community was going crazy, right? Because we know that they were like the white version of the black shit that we were doing. You know what I'm saying? When they put the little hip hop spin on it and all that type of shit. So now we looking at it 2022, where they saying that they were the foundation of that particular genre of music in the 90s. So they pushed away Boys to Men. They pushed away, so now, like, the black community was like, nah, that ain't what it was. They was emulating these motherfuckers
first. Yeah.
Yeah. So they
You
doing that shit in real time. They doing that shit. You know what I'm saying? So like you got a person that was born in 2000, right? That's like, yo, why y'all niggas always be doing that? Why y'all niggas always be like, when they say something, y'all say, no, that ain't what it is. And then it's some black person that black people ain't do everything. You know what I'm saying? This is what the motherfucker, because it looks that way. Because every time somebody like, well, yeah, this was the first such and such. Nah, that wasn't the first such and such. It was a black person that did that. It's almost sounding like this is part of some type of rhetoric that black people use to, like, try to make them validate themselves. But no, they really be doing that shit. Like even what's the motherfucker back in the day that used to they stole everything from me. What's the motherfucker that played the piano and shit? What's the motherfucker name? What's that motherfucker name?
Not
Lil Richie. Yeah, Lil Richie. Lil Richie.
Yeah, it was. But Chuck Berry too.
Yeah. Who?
They stole everything from Chuck Berry ass too, bro.
Yeah. Lil Richie used to say that shit all the time. Like, they stole everything from me. Like, and we would laugh at that motherfucker. We would laugh at him. But they stole everything from that motherfucker. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things.
Changing cadence and shit to like so they couldn't keep up with it. Oh, that shit crazy, bro.
Yeah, so it's this conspiracy, and I motherfuckers always, they react when I say these words, conspiracy, motherfuckers always triggered by these words, but yeah, it's something. They want to take us out of the respectful commentary of history. They want to take us out of there.
Yeah.
So from the inventions,
it goes into I don't know if you got access to that right now. You might have to bring that out. But it goes back into when you like the talk about Darwinism and them being the last evolution of man. That justifies them taking the next step. You see what I'm saying? Especially we talking about the natural selection. You know what I mean? Like that whole process, it all makes sense when we haven't contributed shit to the planet, but they've always had to come in and teach us how to read. They had to come in and teach us how to write. They had to come in and teach us how to build. They had to, you know what I'm saying? Like if they constantly have to do that, and then we fast forward today, the only image that they show is us begging to eat, needing food, needing shelter, always being violent, always stealing and taking. You know what I'm saying? Like you mix all of that shit together, and it's like, why the fuck is the planet carry? Like they making it like we holding the planet the fuck back from evolving to the next stage.
And that's exactly what the doctrine is. And a lot of people, when I be saying shit, like a lot of people, like from a historical standpoint, right? If you ain't got that context, then it's just like you're just reacting to shit that you really don't know. You know what I mean? Because it's like when they, for example, when they show on the news every day, like another stabbing in the black community and blah blah blah, and then the black dude robbed the liquor store, and then we look at it on the surface level like, why they always in the black community doing that? No, but see, they are perpetuating an image which goes back into what they call social Darwinism. And social Darwinism is pretty much saying that, like what Blue just said, we are holding the planet back from actually evolving. And because in this society, when it becomes a more sophisticated society, we can't properly function in that society. So whether it is black people on average score less on the SAT scores than everybody else, and then black people over here they don't know how to properly conduct themselves in the community, and black people over here they are not fit for doing this and that. So all that is suggesting, or black people over here, they're filling up the prison system. So now we got to pay our tax dollars because they can't function properly within our society. So now we got to pay our tax dollars to have a place to put them when they causing so much crime and disorder. This is what they actually doing on a much bigger scale, as opposed to us just reacting to, well, why they're always showing what we doing. There's white people doing shit too. No, the reason why they're doing it, they want to perpetuate this image. So now the greater society will say, well, what can we do about this? You know what I'm saying? Because that's something that they are responsible, with having to deal with. So this is where you get them doing certain shit that they can't announce to the public. You know what I'm saying? We can't say this publicly that we're doing certain things. You know what I mean? To whether it's an agenda, as what because you got it on both ends. Like a lot of people that's caught up in these party lines. I was listening to the radio today and it was talking about, Trump put in people to take away the rights for women, the right to choose, right? And they talking about abortion. And then they suggested, like, well, if he's able to do that, then what else can he do? He may be able now to take away black people's voting rights. So they put all that shit on the table, right?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? To suggest
you know
what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So this is how they present the shit. It's another, and even how they word the law, even how they word shit, right? For example, it was another joint. It was talking about how it has to be legislation to pass for same-sex marriage, right? So that legislation is coupled with interracial marriage. They got that all on the same bill. So when you're reading it, it's talking about same-sex marriage and interracial marriage. So say a person that is against same-sex marriage but has married interracially, like one of the Republican dudes, I forgot what his name is. So they were saying like, well, how come he didn't sign a bill and he's married to an Asian woman? They designed this whole thing, right? Where they're using the stuff that black people fought for, and then they add the other shit to it. They're adding these other elements to it to all push all that in one lump sum. Like, you know what I'm saying? So that's why when you look at like the different parties, you have when you look at the different parties, you have like, okay, well, if you're a Democrat, then that means you're pro-choice, you're pro-gay rights, and you're pro, because all that shit is lumped into one perspective. Now, if you're Republican, you're pro, you're against pro-choice. You know what I'm saying? You're pro-life. You have these conservative values, and you almost have to acquiesce into standards that benefit white people for the most part, right? So this is where they got everybody fighting each other at. But see, they both are, they say two wings on the same bird, right? Because on the one hand, you have Margaret Sanger, right, which was a feminist and a white supremacist. And I'm talking about white supremacists in every sense of the word, white supremacist. And this is something that the Democrats don't bring up. Like they don't want to talk about how Margaret Sanger was at rallies with the Ku Klux Klan. She coupled herself with eugenicists. And I'm talking about eugenicists that had racial intentions of lowering the black population. So when we look at and we champion individuals like Margaret Sanger and pretend as if she wasn't down for the destruction of the black family, and then we champion these people as if they gave rights to us, when in all actuality their overall agenda was to lower the black population. We're playing a losing battle. You know what I'm saying? Because to get caught up in those party lines is the confusion. You know what I mean? Because they both are fighting for the same thing. So, okay, if I'm over here, I got to acquiesce to a society that, or a party that crafts laws to benefit white people, which would be the Republican Party, right? And then over here, if I couple with this liberal side, then I got to accept everything, even if I disagree with it, And on top of that, they are allowing our women to now destroy their seed. Is it a pro-choice? So ironically, what I mean, you see that on average, at a point in time, I don't know if it's still the case, because this is like research I did years ago, that black women or women of color get abortions at a higher rate than any other group of women in the country, right? And this goes back into how they shape society and how they shape the how they frame the society in order for you to be able to function properly in it. They designed the society so that, well, the less children that you have and the more educated that you are, the more likely you are to succeed in the society. I was watching, something came up when I was looking at the it's this channel that I watched called Days of Noah. He really goes in here, and he's a religious dude, but he doesn't really deal with the religion aspect of it too much. And I was watching a video on that, but then it went to this other video where it was just showing in 1968. It was almost like a documentary that PBS did. It was just like, it was in Los Angeles, South Central Los Angeles, right? And it was having an interview in 1968, and it was talking with black people. You probably could play that, you know what I'm saying? I'll send it to you, Blue, so in a future show you could actually look at it, and because you should see when they was interviewing the black people, their mentality then, you know what I'm saying? So this is 1968, and how they were thinking, and how it was just so, you couldn't tell them that the white man wasn't the devil then, bro. There was no way that you was going to convince a black person then that the white man wasn't the devil. You know what I'm saying? So it was just like, it was just a different mentality then. And because I think that the racism was so overt that, they were attacking them in every portion of society. And they gave privilege even to the layman white person. So if you're not dealing with some systemic shit, like, not be able to get a job, you still had to deal with just some ignorant ass regular crackers doing some old stupid shit. You know what I'm saying? So today we don't really have to deal with the ignorant cracker, ignorant cracker doing stupid shit, right? But it's still a systemic thing that's going on. And I think that now it's become so sophisticated that we don't really know all the stops and all the tactics that he is doing today. And we're not really privy to the psychological warfare aspect of what he does when he fucks with the minds of the people. We have yet to figure that part out. And the subliminal messaging, and even tampering with the food, and how deep of an impact that it has on black people today. We not really up on that all the way. Now we'll say a couple of things, but I'm telling you, yeah, that shit goes deep when you dig into it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fact. And just to answer, shout out to Democracy Takeover. Just to answer that too, I think that we see different forms of birth control. I think in different cultures, or societies in general. But I think though the issue comes in is when it's an outside society that's coming and posing or introducing it. Yes, ma'am. Then it kind of creates an issue. I'm like, appreciate you. Then I think that's where it kind of creates an issue. Is that because I think we see it in Egypt, we see it in no problem, and multiple Aboriginal cultures actually. I wouldn't necessarily say abortion, but we do see like what we would call like birth control and whatnot. But I think the issue comes in at is why, and I think we look at like the reasons for why here. It was more so uh, it was more so an attack on us as opposed to us doing it, in order because certain situations that they in or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't, I do see, I have seen it, and especially if we look at, especially like if we looking at like how dangerous childbirth is in general, you can see, what I mean, it ain't too far fetched to see us uh, having some form of ways to counteract that in our society. I think it's just when outside influence is allowed to come in and dictate, because now we see an uptick in the numbers, and it's crazy because it changes when you look at the numbers. It changes out of nowhere. At one point in time, we never really went, and then out of nowhere, we just shot. You know what I'm saying? Because it was only them that was going at high rate, and then we like shot past the one time, and it was almost like the way that they started marketing. You know what I'm saying? Abortions and stuff like that. But I think
Yeah.
I think in general, like it's like that is though. It's almost like you could see the mentality of us, bro. It's kind of embarrassing, like honestly. And I mentioned it yesterday. With one of, you know what I'm saying? I remember, bro. It's been places like sometimes we might be like literally, bro. Like it might be five black dudes, bro, and it may be like one lady that's like closing, one dude, one white dude that's closing, and they're like comfortable, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like they comfortable. They're not even second guessing that you finna get out of fucking line. And it's like that type of shit. It just tell you, bro, where we at. We more you more so got more to worry about, bro. If you was black right now, you know what I'm saying, and you was like the only one in the store or something like that before the black people. Then if you was somebody that was white, like they should be always on edge, bro, and they comfortable as fuck. You know what I'm saying? Like they cool right now. They leave like
Yeah,
the shit is just disrespectful, bro.
yeah.
It's like disrespectful as fuck, bro.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. I'm gonna send you that
it
joint
ain't
though.
them, it's us. It's like what the fuck?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
we
we
think?
comfortable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm gonna send you that joint though, Blue, because it was like 1968. It was talking about like it was this woman, and she was like, yeah, she lived in a projects, and she was like, yeah, I got 13 kids. She got 13 kids, right? And she was like, yeah, and she proudly said, like, it was all by the same father. Like, we had 13 kids together. And then she was like, most of these women in here, they got 7 kids by 7 different baby fathers. And so that is the numbers that was being, you know what I'm saying? We put up 7, 9, 10, 13 kids. Man, some people were saying like, yeah, it's more black people in America than white people. Some people used to say that.
My grandma had 17.
Yeah. A lot of older motherfuckers used to say that shit. Yeah, a lot of older motherfuckers used to say that shit. And it's like, yo, because they know back then they was having a lot of fucking kids, bro. And so they then
now
started talking about
yeah.
It was like, yeah, like, and then they started talking about how they had an interview with this dude, and he was like, yeah, well, I'm still with my woman, but I moved out the house because she wouldn't be able to get public assistance if I was still living there.
Oh,
but
I seen that video.
Yeah. So you talking about, right? Obviously, right, from the passing of these. Now you got to deal with everything collectively. You can't just piece this shit over here and then piece that shit over there and then keep that shit separate. Okay, why are they all up in your community trying to get you to have lesser children, right? And then they incentivize that shit, like incentivizing you not being with your other half and shit. They incentivize it. Oh, well, okay, well, if you are in the house with a man, think about this. If you're in a house with a man, you can't get public assistance, right? But then on the flip side, right, the man, right, in that documentary, they was talking about like the work, right? So certain jobs that black people qualify for, they was unable to get it due to the fact that due to the color of their skin. So in the work world, they're not even giving you full opportunity, right?
Right.
Then on the flip side, it's like, okay, they're gonna treat it because this is their justification. Well, if you got a man at home, then he obviously is working and providing for you. But you know that you're systematically castrating men in the economic world, but then you use that as a standard to suggest that, well, yeah, if you're living with a man, then he got to be bringing on some type of income. He's working, right? So we can't give you public assistance if he's here because obviously he's bringing some money in. Like these are, so you talking about a systemic thing, and this is something that was calculated. Whereas though, okay, they first tried to castrate the black man. We was making a way out of no way. So to get the black man out of the house, okay, we're gonna now pass this rule. What would be the justification of passing a rule like that if you're not giving black men employment to begin with? So it's just like, you see that this was something that was crafted systemically, and that was being pushed in by the common white folks. So you see a situation where as what it said in the documentary, it was a sister that was saying this. He was like, yeah, well, what the common white folk would do, like just at the regular mom and pop business, she was saying like, well, they'll train us for jobs that they don't want to do. You know what I'm saying? They'll be more than willing to train you for a job that they don't want to do. But for the jobs that were like making more money and the jobs that they wanted to relegate for just white folks, they wouldn't train them how to do those jobs. You know what I'm saying? So all this shit black people had to deal with, and then they was holding them to the standard as if they were people that was getting equal treatment in the society and saying that, well, okay, since you got a man here, then you can't get public assistance. So now we have to now finagle the system as what we always did. We had to finagle the system. All right, well, yeah, you gotta get your mail sent, because a lot of times the man was still there, but he just ain't getting mail sent to the house and shit. You gotta go, get you in the mail, go and do your thing, to move out or whatever, whatever the case may be. So yeah, we was forced to finagle shit. But all that shit was designed to like break up the family. So what is the attack on from the abortion? Okay, now we're gonna give you ain't gotta pay for this abortion. You ain't gotta pay for that. You ain't gotta pay for that. That'll be free to you, and as long as you following these rules and you got this type of public assistance, we're gonna provide you with this. You know what I'm saying? And then it's like on the flip side, it's like, okay, well, in order for you to get it, you gotta kick the man out. It's an attack on a black family. That's clear. When you put all that shit together, the commonality will be the attack on the black family to divide them along the line of the sexes, and at the same time, destroy the children that they're producing. So that's what it was. So it's like you said, Blue. It's different than like you living in the indigenous land and you got some type of natural way of aborting terminating the pregnancy. No, this is like an orchestrated effort into lowering the population and destroying your family. Those are two different things right there. This ain't just like a one woman eating cat poop, you know what I'm saying? To stop a pregnancy. You're talking about these people that put billions of dollars into putting abortion clinics strategically in your community and force feeding you with propaganda. And then designing a society around, well, they say statistically that a black woman's income will be under the poverty line if she don't graduate out of high school. And if she has a child before the age of 18, she's most likely going to live on welfare for the rest of her life. Now, if a black woman that graduated out of high school, she gets a little bit more statistically. This is what they're saying. Then a black woman that graduated out of college, she has a better opportunity and more privilege. And then with a master's degree and doctor's degree, etc. So they framed the society around incentivizing you having less children. You know what I'm saying? So this is something that's being orchestrated. They're dealing with shit on a way more sophisticated level. So even before you get into the philosophical views of feminism, which is a part of the tool that they use to get us to acquiesce to it psychologically. You know what I'm saying? You have a concerted effort on the part of this dominant society to create situations where we're not at our full capacity of what we can actually produce. Now, the reason why you're talking about, like, I'm saying the other immigrants, right? The Pakistani, the Mexican, they don't get abortions like that. You know what I'm saying? Those Mexicans are Catholic. They ain't getting abortions all like that. Neither is the Pakistani. They Muslim. They're not getting abortions like that. So they have a solid family foundation. They go by some of their custom value systems, and they hold on to those traditions. They got their own way of communicating, own language that protects them. You know what I'm saying? So the more you get assimilated within the society, the more you're going to fall to the pitfalls of what they're doing systemically. And they have amalgamated now these things into party lines. So we're so committed to now representing a particular party, but we don't understand that when they constructed these parties to begin with, right, it was not for your best interest. When you look at what they're doing, for example, in the Republican Party with they were talking about like why at the January 6th hearing, it was certain people that were complaining about the treatment of the people that were imprisoned on January 6th when they were, you know what I'm saying? Because they're demanding that. Like, you know what I'm saying? People are always, no, they're demanding that. They feel as though they're being slapped in the face. To think about it, like from a perspective of a person that for up until this point had, way more privilege than they do now, right? They're looking at it, okay, you're letting these Mexicans in, you're letting they're giving the niggas more power, you're letting these and y'all really need to read, like, that's why it's good to get some of the not just the Aryan Nation, but a lot of the different the neo-Nazi and their rhetoric, because when they do certain things, it's along those lines, but they're just not saying what it is. So it's a theory, right, that suggests that the Jews, right, are trying. One of the ways that they're going to destroy America is by letting the niggas get in charge. Like, remember Birth of a Nation, right? Jewish publication.
Yeah.
Jewish publication, right? It's a theory, right, that when, for example, at the Nazi Germany, this is a real-time situation. After World War I, right, the German lost in World War I, so they had to pay reparations to the French, right? The Treaty of Versailles is what they called it. So out of spite, right, this is what they did, right? The French would take, because they colonized Senegal at that time. They had control over Senegal. they would take their troops from Senegal, right? And they would put them into the Rhineland. So now you got all these black soldiers with kind of power because they were soldiers over in the Rhineland. That was like a spite, right? Because they knew what was going to happen. Those German men are going to be, I mean, those African men are going to start, you know, messing around with those German women. They did that on purpose. So it's a theory, right? Amongst them, because they be, you know, when they do their little infight and shit. It's a slap in the face when whoever wins gives power to niggas. So it's a theory that that's one of the tactics that they use to lower the vital sap of society, of that society, because they think that niggas, once again, you're talking about from a Darwinian standpoint, right? That once you put niggas in charge, it's going to take down the society. You know what I'm saying? So that's a theory amongst the white supremacists. So when you look at what Jews are doing, right? You know, okay, give the niggas more power. This is what the white society in America is bulking up against, but they can't say that shit though. So when they was doing this shit on, I think it was in a campus on Virginia, it's like, you will not replace us. That's what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah.
Because they know that, okay, once you put the niggas in charge, this is how they're looking at it. Once you put the niggas in charge, America is done. America is done once you put these niggas in charge. You know what I'm saying? Or you get these niggas more privilege over us and shit. So this is what you got going on. So you have philosophies, right? You have philosophies and ideologies that is having an impact on the politics, and motherfuckers just operate on a political realm. But they don't have underlying shit of really knowing what they fighting about and shit. So it's just like, you know, I don't support either one of them motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because it's all about pretty much, you know, you see how the Jews move, right? Once it was something that black people were doing that was not to their benefit. Oh, he's anti-Semitic. Oh, we're going to go extra on these motherfuckers. Oh, you gotta apologize publicly. No, we don't want to, right? We want you to apologize. We don't want your money. Yeah, because they know that this is a bigger game that's being played. You know what I'm saying? About, like, you know, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you know that you'll know the end time because it will be fighting amongst the elite. You'll know the end time because it will be fighting amongst the elite. So it ain't just the Jews. You know? Okay, that's part of it. Yeah, they are one of the factions. They are one of the factions within this whole grand scheme of things that has power over the media. You know, their main thing is over the media. They're great lawyers. They know how to finagle shit and they know how to play with the laws and shit. But then you have powers. You know what I'm saying? Like people that have military power. That'll be the good old pure Christian white man. They have their faction over here. Then you have the people with the religious power, like the Catholic Church over there. So, for example, when you heard about her shit about, like, you know, the Jews, right? You could tell they was fighting amongst each other because you seen shit being put out by the Catholic priests, you know, fucking children and shit. The Jews were doing that. The Jews were doing that shit. They were putting out all that shit, you know what I'm saying, exposing the Catholic Church. They doing their infighting, but they not announcing it. They're not showing their hand, but that's where else you getting that shit from? When you hear the shit about, like, you know, the Illuminati and this global conspiracy, you know, this global government, that's coming from white conservatives attacking Jews and shit. So all that is part of the rhetoric. When you look at the different rhetoric, you know, this is what you're talking about. Not to say that any of them is totally lying about the shit that they're saying, but it's up to us to, it's up to us to figure that shit out. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, look into it and figure out what this shit is, you know. So, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and like it goes to say, too, it kind of shows you, though. I think a while back we were just like kind of talking about all the like the different things that what's good, what you talking about? We was kind of like conversing about all of the different things that they always talk about is coming. That's already here.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And we always, like, that's another thing that's always talked about is like the population control and how they're going to control, how they're going to control the population. But it's just like you said, like you look, our grandparents was having 17 kids, bro, 14, 15, you know what I'm saying? 16 kids. Nigga, we have maybe 2, 3, like right now, 4 is in the 9. You know what I'm saying? Like you see somebody with 4 kids today, you looking like, damn, that's a lot of kids today, bro. Like they've already been able to, and it ain't just through, you know, abortion or birth control. It's also through the food, the water, and you know what I'm saying, the shit that they put in the water. And then it's just how society is conditioned in general. You know what I mean? You got to think, even at those times, at the time of that video was made, working 40 hours a week was unheard of. You know what I'm saying? In order to make, you know what I'm saying? In order to survive, working 40 hours a week at the time that video was made was unheard of, bro. Now you at a point, they didn't, even at that time, nobody spent more time at work than they did at home. You in a whole nother type of society. And then we talk about, like, in general, the conditions in careers for women. There's nothing that's set up for an economically independent mother. So it's not really set up for her to work and to have kids. There's not really a daycare setup attached to her job because righteously, and when you look at differences in different places today in Europe, and you look at how their careers are set up, these women, the women there, have literally daycare set up on the job. You know what I'm saying? On the site, they're right there with you know what I mean, next to the kid. Like, so it's, you have something that's more so where she can kind of continue her career, and kid, you don't really get that here. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of a choice that has to be made at some point. Is exactly where does her focus lie? And like that in itself kind of diminishes how many kids we gonna have. The just in general, the living conditions, the way houses are made today, all of that kind of determines a lot. And then you talk about too, that's a lot of us who migrated towards the city. In the city is not necessarily conducive for having more than, you know what I mean, 2 or 3 kids. It's just not. So we talk about population control is already in effect. You already live in it. You know what I'm saying? That's something you already kind of agreed to. And that's really, you look at, you know, what Kevin Samuels was talking about. You know, Kevin Samuels talked about it from a standpoint of he put a price tag on society and everything in it. You know what I'm saying? He not only had a price tag for the house, the car, but he had a price tag for the wife and how much the kids is gonna cost. Like that's where we at today. And that's where it gets dangerous for us going forward because it's like that's total detachment from other human beings. The moment you able to put a number to it. You know what I'm saying? The moment you able to put a number. So he was able to price out how much your kids was gonna cost you. And so now we looking at it. Basically, what he described was And the conversation he was having was should black men take on that a D a D something that's gonna well, I can't even get it out, depreciate in value. So it's like, but that's the society. That's the insane part of where we at today in society, where it's like you can basically look and see if somebody fits a certain dollar sign. That's total detachment from what it is just to have like a human experience. Once it becomes that, once you turn life into basic mathematics, like it's a wrap. Fact, fact. I think though that you know. So to me though, it is it's almost like that kind of rhetoric and doctrine. It kind of walks us like kind of down like in the same path. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, yeah, I don't think necessarily like to me that's necessarily like I didn't like making a point not necessarily get on Kevin Samuel, but it's just the kind of show like what type of argument that was being made on both sides. And so on one side was making, we can say like the women's fear side, or I guess the Cynthia G side, they're making more of an economic argument, and the manosphere is putting a price on it. Well, this is how much it's gonna cost. You know what I'm saying? And it's like you don't really add any value. I only lose. You know what I'm saying? I only begin to lose money once I bring you into the fold. Because not only do I have to now take care of you, but now you're gonna bring on kids that I have to account for, and then that's when he starts bringing in a college and how much it's gonna cost to put them through college. They're gonna have cars at 16, all of that type of stuff. So that once he starts doing that, now you're basically just showing that, hey, the moment you get into it, and it ain't just be careful who you get into a relationship with, but it's like, yo, the moment that you get into a relationship and it's something that's serious, or you're talking about getting married, that's the very moment that you know you might as well go ahead and start knocking off dollar signs. 50,000 here, 50,000 there. That what I mean. He got I know y'all seen the Kevin Samuel show, so y'all know the numbers. He got the numbers down pat. How much it's gonna cost for their first cars? How much it's gonna cost for their uniforms to get them through school? How much college is gonna cost them? They books to feed them, to what I'm saying? All of that. So this is like we gotta look at it like, damn, this is the discussion black people are having. You know what I'm saying? Like black people ain't even talking about like, what I mean, how we get over the hump, this and that. Like we talking about how much it's gonna be up in a second, I see. you know? But nah, like that's where the conversation is though for black people with each other. You know what I mean? That's how we viewing kids. That's how we viewing, because you don't just have him putting the price tag to it. You got the other side saying, "Well, shit, if we got to take care of it by ourselves, we might as well abort." So this is a we in a whole different time right now of like detachment. Yeah, and it's dangerous. The first the further we have a conversation, like we talking about putting couches and TVs, like and the further down, like the more dangerous this shit get, like for real. Because you, when I'm listening to both sides, that's what I'm hearing. I almost like think about, how we always get on the law about what they say, don't don't covet your neighbor's TV, your neighbor's couch, or your neighbor's wife. It's like that type of shit. Like, god damn, we just we just like, yo, the kid nigga is like putting the kids next to the Jordans and shit. Now you love Jordans. Jordans cost you $45,000 a year. Now, if you get with her, she gonna cost you 38,000. The kids gonna start off the bat cost you about 12,000 at least. So you might as well say bye bye to your Jordans. Like, god damn,
Yeah, yeah.
they can have the kids is a little deeper than just goddamn you say bye bye to your J's.
Yeah, yeah, they begin to tie in like the obviously we like got like a double entendre because it's like we still be affected by the dominant society, and then on top of that we like really don't get total benefits of what the dominant society gets. So it's like people ain't happy unless the quality of life is up to par based off of the standards that has been given to us by the dominant society. So kind of like the happiness is kind of like amalgamated with the quality of life and and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? So when you're talking about relationships, it's like before we even get into the relationship part, how much money do you make? Because I mean you could be the perfect nicest sweetest guy on the planet, but I'm not gonna be happy if they call it struggle love. I'm not gonna be happy if you fucked up in the game and shit, or you're not even up to the standard. You cannot in now to the point. It's to the point now where you could be cool, you know what I'm saying? But if it ain't a certain type of like money, like you said, six figures, you could be making like 99.9 and shit. It ain't six figures. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like they're not gonna be happy. They're not gonna be happy. And if they're not happy, then the relationship ain't gonna work. So it's all that's being tied in together at this point. It ain't just about the person and his personality and whether he love you or not. It's about like that's part of being happy. They want they want all that shit. They want the person that's gonna make them happy, far as in a relationship and all that, and they want the person that's gonna make them comfortable living in America. So if one part of that is missing, they not gonna be happy. And then the crazy part about that, even if you present both of the things, it's not 100% chance that they're gonna be happy still.
No, bro. Because even when I talked about, like, they basically was calling saying that we was bitches and shit. All right, we just bitches and nigga, we ain't doing shit and we ain't protecting them and whoop de whoop. And the minute I started talking, well, look, we got Liberia here, we built the whole country. Let's go back and do our thing, goddamn, build it. Like, nigga, how we gonna eat? And you niggas expect us to go back to no washing machines? And, like, what the fuck? Remember what you call it? The nigga Mighty Hebrew is on. This nigga showing a 12 goddamn room mansion. A 12-bedroom mansion in Africa. The nigga got chickens and shit. They worried about how the fuck you gonna wash your clothes, bro. I was like, wow. So it's like On one end, we bitch made and not doing shit. And on the other end, when we talk about revolution and what it's going like now it comes in like, well, is it gonna be better than this? Like what wait, is
Yeah.
what gonna be better than this? There ain't no easy transition into something better than this. First off, there's no just we go from, you know what I'm saying, from this into war and then back into this shit. Like, no, there's no easy transition, no smooth way to get it. Yeah, you might get some shit. We probably have some shit way better at some point. But if you're talking about the beginning, no, there's gonna be a lot of people that's gonna starve. There's a lot of people that's gonna die. There's a lot of
I
people that ain't
mean,
gonna have nowhere to
like, even the
fucking go.
idea of like, you know, yeah, it's a crazy situation. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, so it's like it, we both nobody. I don't think on both ends nobody really wants to see real results. Like niggas just want to complain about each other and then talk about how you know how much better society or how much more comfortable it could be if if the other side was however they fucking think or believe. That shit is just ridiculous. And it's a L. It's just really a L. Like niggas ain't no like neither one is really having a real discussion on changing shit. Like that's the thing. It ain't even that. Like that's the major issue. Neither side. It was no conversation was really ever brought to the table to change the scenario or the situation. It was just to kind of like antagonize each other. You know what I mean? It was to antagonize. The shit was like for entertainment. It was, all kind of different stuff. Nah, nah. I'm actually a fan of intersectionality and Kimberly Crenshaw's work in general. I don't like the YouTube version of the conversation. We look at how the YouTube version of the conversation is dangerous for Black people. It's just not. There's no like the way womanism is introduced onto YouTube. It's not healthy. It was not a healthy discussion. It was not the right way to have it. You had motherfuckers. It turned into. Just think about it. Even regardless of whatever their message is, it got overshadowed with abort black male baby or abort black baby. Like that overshadowed whatever message you was trying to get across. That's what the moment that came out, it was like boom, that became a cloud. Like that's a stain. You can't have that connected to womanism. That has to stand on its own. Because you talk about that's work that's already been done. Kimberly Crenshaw already put in that work. The Alice Walker already put in that work. You don't, you know what I'm saying? Like, nah, you can't have it. The Dairy Bell, you know what I mean? So it's almost like when people hear the conversation, they're going to be kind of turned off to how, to some of the genuine points that are being made. Because, I mean, to me, I lean more so towards their the what they would call the Cynthia G argument side of the argument, just because I don't think I think we supposed to be setting shit on fire right now. I don't think there's any excuse a nigga can make for not fucking shit over. But outside, outside of that, I think it was a dangerous way though. That the conversation got introduced to people on YouTube to where it just like it came in low vibration. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just the best way I can explain it. It was the conversation was had on a lower vibration, and it was something that needed to be had on a much higher frequency. And it the way it came in was just bad. And so when people came to the table, it was more so about having like a trauma war, or you know what I mean, who got hurt worse. And if it didn't come down to that, it just turned into like fucking calling each other all kind of names and to the point where really it started working as counterintelligence, to where you had one side calling niggas Pookies and Ray Ray, and then you had the other side calling the women uh mammies and picnies and all of that type of shit. Like y'all don't even understand how that shit is like operates against you mentally. You have a full detachment when a you don't have no remorse for when a Pookie or what they are describing as a Ray Ray is shot and killed.
Yeah,
Nor
yeah,
is
that's
there
like,
any
you know,
remorse.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you know what I'm saying?
Like, yeah.
Same thing when it's a mammy. You know what I'm saying? If a mammy and her boyfriend has killed her or whatever happened, or she was mammy, there's no there's no emotional connection to her, so we can go in on her. That's just another way to separate. You know what I mean? Now it's the women that you can't talk about and the women that you can, and it's the men that you can't talk about and the men that you can. So it's like that shit is dangerous.
Yeah, you could look at like the it's like layered because it's like emotion on top of that too. It's like we did a lot of shit to each other, you know, that was like disrespectful. You know what I'm saying? You know, it was just like I believe that one thing that kept us together was that, you know, even despite of all the different shit that we was going through, was like our family structure. And once the family structure got dismantled, and that's why, like, you know, a lot of the stuff that I was talking about earlier was like crucial into destroying like the family. And like, you know, from the propaganda that was being waged on to the black community via the media, you know, to the you know, to the drugs that was being put into our communities. You had like a breakdown in kind of our customs, because we created like a culture when we were segregated, of stuff that we did and stuff that we didn't do. You know what I'm saying? Just based off of, you know, what can protect us living in a segregated society. There's certain shit that we just ain't even embark in. Uh, Once all those things got broken down, um, we began to destroy each other. So, uh, like, yes, it's like it's really like both sides are correct in the assessment. It got emotional now. It's to the point where it's really no turning back with that generation, our generation. Um, it's more so like we got to teach the kids that we fucked up on that part, because I don't see Cynthia G turning. You know, is changing no time soon with her perspectives, and from over the years, you could kind of see it getting worse. And you know, Canvas Samuels took how he felt to the grave. So that's kind of what the generation, you know, produced, and it was all a byproduct of us going, living in a kind of dilapidated version of American culture, and us being byproducts of an overall agenda to destroy the family. And you got to keep on stressing that, because if you ain't looking at it from that aspect, then you're only dealing with it on a personal level. What's the personal levels? That a guy did you dirty, a black man broke up with you and broke your heart, or the black girl cheated on you. She broke your heart. And it's like, so that would be like the personal aspect of it, but on a much greater scale, it's just like our value system was destroyed, and we now have no morals. And I ain't talking about from a religious standpoint, but like from a standpoint of even how we deal with each other. Like, there's not even a code of conduct on how black men engage each other. That's why we resort to violence even on stupid shit. Like a motherfucker step on your sneakers and the motherfucker shooting them, and you know what I'm saying? We don't even have a rules of engagement amongst ourselves and shit. And it's because like our value system was like usurped. And it's like, we are influenced more so by the media and how other people conducted themselves. The difference is that, the media, with like other cultures, they kind of glamorized it, but with us, they criminalize it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's why, we got a lot of people, with the Italian culture and the gangs, mob culture with that, and even before them, the Jews, it's kind of looked at as organized crime and shit, but we just some knuckleheads running around killing each other and shit. But they was killing each other, though. You know what I'm saying? When you look at like the 1950s and like the you know what I'm saying? Like, these mobs, they were killing each other and shit. It was like family versus family. The Italians, they were killing each other, bro. But that wasn't really because it wasn't worded how they were, and when we that black people doing, and we don't expect them to do nothing different. But the point is how we allow the dominant society to now kind of dictate how we treat each other, and that is the main reason why we kind of view each other that way, because all this criteria and all these standards is based off of kind of what the dominant society is kind of looking for. And growing up in a culture where on the one end it was like, Ice Cube, did you ever hear that Ice Cube song, Blue? A bitch is a bitch. You ever hear that song?
Yeah, I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah, he wrote a whole song. I mean, and he made some good songs on top of that. He made some good songs and shit. He made some good songs, but he did a whole joint talking about black women, right? A bitch is a bitch, right? And so you have that on the one end. And then you have, especially in the 90s, and I could see even this new generation kind of getting from that, like too much. They still disrespect women, but not how we used to disrespect women. You know what I'm saying? And
Nah, different.
I say we, but it's really like that. Those people that was born in like the 70s, because like when you're listening to 90s rap, it's like motherfuckers that was probably born in the 70s, early 70s, but like, so we used to go in on the women, like, you know what I mean, bitch, and scandalous asshole and all different types of shit. We used to call women openly in the public in our music, right? You got that on the one
Yeah.
end, and then you got on the other end this hyper sensationalized form of feminism that is like kind of pushing the women to be more independent, and it's kind of justified because of how we are in response, um how we're communicating to the women and with the women. So it's just like, all that is playing a role into before you even get to a Cynthia G. Like, she's influenced by all that shit. You know what I'm saying? So what she could give a
Mm-hmm.
fuck about what some nigga talking about. When I interviewed Cynthia G, she said that her father sold her bike and shit to buy some crack.
Damn.
She said she got hit by a car and she was wearing a biker helmet and it saved her life and it made the news. And when it's to make the news, people donated, pitched in to buy her a new bike. So everybody,
Right.
for the people pitched in to buy her, got her a nice new bike, and a pop took it and brought some crack with that shit. He stole it and sold it for some crack. You think she give a
Damn.
fuck about what some nigga talking about?
Hell nah, bro.
She don't give a fuck about some damn nigga. And you wonder why she talking about. And I don't think that it's all predicated around like experience. Like, no, they have a perspective and they have things to back it up. Like, she want to know, like, is it true? Is that shit true? Are black women protected? Do you think that black women are protected, Blue?
Hell nah.
So that's all from her perspective, that's all she talking about. She talking about how
Nah.
black women ain't protected. You know what I mean? So it's just like, on the other end, it's like, you got Kevin Samuels, or the manosphere or whoever. They're looking at it like, yeah, these black women are crazy than the motherfucker. They got these expectations, but they not being traditional women, and that's really what most black men want. They want a more traditional type of woman. They're kind of forcing us to accept this new progressive woman, but at the same time demanding
Mm-hmm.
all this equal treatment. And but at the same time, they want to be put on a pedestal. You can't have all that. It's impossible. It's impossible for me to treat you equal and hold you on a pedestal. How the fuck I'm gonna do that? How the fuck I'm gonna treat you equal and hold you on a pedestal?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's
Right.
impossible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's just like, at the end of the day, we all fucked up, bro. And we need to teach the kids that because we are like the lab rats in this shit. So we know, like, we done, oh, no, don't even go down that road, bro.
Can't
No,
even
no,
go that
don't even go that route. No. This what you, go just focus there. Do this right here. Keep it
Yeah.
simple.
You can
Do
skip a
this.
whole level.
Leave all that shit alone. All that shit right there, leave that shit alone. Matter of fact, don't even listen to that. Don't listen to that. Don't
That's the
leave that
rabbit
alone.
hole.
Yeah. Leave that alone. Leave that. No. You just stay right here. You good. That's the type of shit we need to be
Yeah.
on.
Like that's it. That's it, bro. Because it's like I said, it's clear. We don't, you know, it depending on what level you having the discussion on, we don't have a leg, like a leg to really stand on. It's like, nigga, you are cool with being a second class citizen. Like for y'all, it's straight. I don't like being somewhere and I hear like some white dude talking, you know what I'm saying, to another black woman a certain way, or even just another black dude or somebody black in general, just because he in a position of authority. I don't be feeling that shit. You know what I'm saying? Like nah, bro. But then it's like, bro, and then at the end of the day, we see though what happens. That you got the Kyrie thing, where it's like now it affects your economics. Nigga, who gonna play? Yeah, that Kyrie Irving is the nigga that said, nah, fuck
Blue, you there, Blue? Yeah, we can't hear you if you're talking, bro. Can y'all hear me? I don't know if the stream ended. Yeah, I don't know if the stream ended or not. Okay, y'all probably gave me. Yeah, can y'all hear me? Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, when you talk about, for example, like the psychological war that has been waged on society in general, because the overall objective would be to disrupt, the fabric of American society, period, and by usurping the family structure, because that's kind of what kept everything intact in this culture, and once you do that, you got all this crazy shit going on now. You know what I'm saying? So it's to the point now where shit is being done so rapidly that now we having conversations about um is a man now? I'm gonna question, is a woman now? Is a man now? And is a woman? You know? We're like, we're even to the point where we're questioning what a man is and what a woman is. You're not going to never get there if you didn't have the breakdown of the family structure in America. So, when you're looking at the black community,
Right.
is a byproduct of that. It's a byproduct of what they're doing in the greater thing, because they have to destroy America in order to globalize the planet. Like, they trying to globalize, and conspiracy theory, call it what you want, right? But I mean, we could see actually what's going on and shit. We sat back and we looked at things develop. A lot of people that's in their 40s, you seen how generations or generation ago that things were different. Who is orchestrating this shit? Who is projecting, and who is calculating that, okay, by 2020 we going to be questioning if a man is a man and a woman is a woman, you know? And if I was to tell you, they were planning that shit in the fucking 80s. Imagine me saying that in 1980. You'd be calling me crazy as shit. So what are they planning for you by 2000, or for our children? What are they planning for our children by 2050 is what you should be asking yourself. If they are able to accomplish this shit right here, if they're able to get us to this point where they're now teaching the children that, well, if you feel as though that you are a woman, let us know. You ain't got to tell your parents. You could come and tell us at the school. If you feel as though that you're a woman, if you feel as though that you were born a female, but you really feel like you're a male, you know what I'm saying? You could let us know. We have now the technology to make you feel more like what you're deciding in your mind what you want to be. Like, what the fuck is going? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Right.
So now they're teaching, right? Okay, like for example, right? There would be no Blue, right? I'm talking about like Blue as a rapper, right? Blue, there would be no Blue if he wasn't growing up being influenced by hip hop. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He was influenced by hip hop, so he said, "You know what? I'm gonna see if I can rap. Let me write." Oh, then that motherfucker said, "Damn, yeah, Blue, you pretty hot. Okay, let me write some more." You know what I'm saying? Okay, let me like read and learn more words and learn more entendres and metaphors and shit. But it all started from being influenced by some shit. Now use that logic and apply it to what they're doing now in the schools when they bring in transgenders in to talk with the kids. This is basic programming being done right before your eyes. Basic programming. This shit ain't for you. That's why I said, like, yo, you're going to be no different than Archie Bunker was. Like, those were the days, when boys were boys. And, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know?
Yep.
You know, so, man, what do you say? When girls were girls and men were men. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's what the whole shit was about. The whole All in the Family shit was about was a person that lived with white privilege coming out of segregation, now having to deal with this new wave of liberalism, and a little bit of equality is given to everybody, whether it's the women, whether it's the blacks. So he was complaining about that shit. That's what All in Family was about. And that's why the Jeffersons was like an offshoot of that shit. Okay, here goes this progressive, loudmouth black dude that's now getting privileges that Archie Bunker don't like that he getting and shit. So they used to argue with each other. So they're going to eventually get old and die and shit. You know what I'm saying? So what's left over now? A bunch of progressive thinking motherfuckers just like his daughter's husband. Remember the bull? I forget what his name was. He was like a progressive male and shit. Archie used to fuck with him and shit. You know what I mean? So that's what you're seeing being done. You know what I'm saying? They're planning generations ahead and they're programming. So now, using that logic, what type of shit you think the kids gonna be on when they get older? You know what I'm saying? What type of shit no matter what you're talking about, even if like motherfuckers don't go all the way on some crazy shit, like they're gonna be a little more open to that shit than we were. Obviously, because since they were a kid, they have been taught that you have to accept this. You have to accept it. This is normal. Oh, that's just a person that decided to, and they designed the society around this idea that if you speak out against this shit in any type of way, we have a word that we're going to label you as. You know what I'm saying? You're anti-LGBT. You're against. You don't want the equal rights of such and such, and then. And once you fall under that category, no different than being anti-Semitic, we can now take shit from you. You know what I'm saying? And it's justified because everybody knows that you should not be doing this. Everybody knows that you should not be saying that because you've been taught since you were a child that this is what you accept. You know what I'm saying? So that's programming. A very basic form of programming.
Yeah, that predictive programming shit. Because they already, you said they already kind of adjusted. So it's like the shit that shocked you, and that and you can see it's like almost why they constantly put certain shit on the news on the regular. Like it's hard to get an emotional attachment now. Like think about when there was a kidnapping like years ago. Everybody was out. You know what I'm saying? Now, like you so desensitized to it, it's like you don't even like have a reaction to move for real. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't even have like the drive to, you know what I'm saying, to get involved and figure out what's going on or see if you where you can help it. Because it's like shit. It's almost like it just becomes well, damn, another kid kidnapped, and it's weird.
Yeah. I think you went out again, Blue. Yeah, I think you went out again. But like, yeah, like that. All that has been done. All that is being done. Whether it's like a breakdown, because that was step one of what breaking down the family structure, the stuff that we talking about, as far as with the abortion and you know what I'm saying. Whether it's the having the babies and the breakdown of what we consider a family to be, we call it the traditional family. That breakdown, and now they pushing in another aspect of um um destruction of the previous culture, which would be like, okay, same sex marriage. Are we going to add same sex marriage? So, like I said earlier, they couple it with a bill saying like, well, okay, same sex marriage is being now coupled with interracial marriage. All that is in the same bill. So if you're against that, you're not signing it because you're against same sex marriage. The media is going to say, well, yeah, you're against interracial marriage too, because you didn't really want to fuck with that. You know what I'm saying? So, um, and in this society, we know that from a standpoint of we know that with the same sex marriage, that could be like a moral, that could be based off of certain Judeo Christian moral values. You know what I'm saying? And we know that the interracial marriage could be more um, uh, political, social type of deal. But they meshing all this shit in together just so they could cause mass confusion. And they could play this media game that they have been playing since they began to shift their political agenda about what America is going to be. You know, so yeah, it's a crazy time, and if you ain't picking up on the slick tactics that's being played to have everybody fighting amongst each other. You know, they want everybody to be in total disarray and begin to be going at it with each other. And while they're doing that, they could actually begin to, begin to further transform the thinking, further shift. And when you do certain things, create new laws to take away more rights, and you know they're doing a very very crafty job at usurping um, the country, and so um, us as black people really don't give a fuck too much about that because like, it wasn't like the country was giving us like, 100%, privilege anyway. But you do need to know that, because when you know that aspect of things, you have a better understanding of what they're doing specifically to you and what role you play into actually help making this thing happen. Because a lot of this shit that they use black people for is for a much greater thing, but we're caught up on certain shit. So when we hear talking points from certain people, we don't listen to them because it sounds almost like they're being coons and shit. Sounds like they're being racist, and some of them are. But then you got your two extremes. It's like, okay, um, for example, the George Floyd situation, we've seen that George Floyd was it was police brutality. The procedures that he was supposed to use to subdue an individual, he kind of abused that. So this is why the cops should have been charged with the abuse of power. So yeah, I fucks with it up until that point, right? But then we not okay. The other extreme would be, are we making statues of George Floyd? Nah, you don't need to make statues of George Floyd. The point is whether if he was a crackhead or not was not the point. The point was, no human should be treated like that by a professional police officer. That's the point. The point, it wasn't that he was this big superhero motherfucker that we should be honoring like Martin Luther King or some shit like that. So what one segment of society would do is they would kind of memorialize him as if he was like Malcolm X or somebody, just to get the other side mad. And then the other side is kind of like, oh yeah, he was just some dumbass criminal. He deserved to die. So now these motherfuckers are fighting amongst each other. And then this side is using black people, right, for their specific agenda. And black people are solely caught up on the aspect of, the images that was being shown to them of the officer on George Floyd's neck. So unless you really know the both sides of the story and really know the bigger scheme of things, you're not going to totally know how you're being used by the greater society to cause chaos and shit. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, you got to keep those things in mind. And that's why it's always good to look and dig a little deeper into shit so you can have a greater understanding of what the fuck is going on. Because George Soros, you look at him and how he's funding certain type of things, and you got both of these factions having their own political agenda, and they want to use black people to actually get their specific agenda. And we know ultimately that neither side totally is for black people. Yeah, this person that they was talking about, they came into their local congressman, and they was talking about well, what are you going to do for black people specifically? This is somebody that was I forget where I heard this from, but she went into the local congressman, and then she was like, well, one of the problems is that we don't really control business in our community. So if you could help us, do a lot of things, because the immigrants are like, they control business in our community. So the congressman, in a majority black community, was like, I don't really get into the the anti-minority or some shit that he said, like, and so the woman put together information showing the ripple effect of what would happen when you have different groups of people controlling the economics in the community. And the congressman ain't really want to hear all that. Why? Because he's a Democrat first. He's a Democrat first before he's pro-black. So whether you're looking at it from the standpoint of what controls the community, politically, it's only a certain level that they're going to go. It's only a certain level that they're going to go before, they draw the line and say, well, no, that's too pro-black. That's too much right there. You want to take a step back. And, you can see that being done also through the church. You know what I'm saying? The church has a role in doing those things as well. So,
Did you see the video I had played earlier?
With the Israelites?
Yeah.
Yeah. When was that done? How long was that done ago?
That was like yesterday.
And where were they at? They were in Brooklyn?
Yeah, that was right outside the Barclays. That was right outside where the Mets played.
Oh, okay. Oh, they were. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So they asked him about that during his interview.
Yeah. I mean, it gets like, when you got like Kyrie speaking out for the that's something that's for the Israelite community. They that's why I say he did his job already. If I'm like a black Israelite, Kyrie did his job already. Like, he ain't gotta be like, go ahead and apologize or whatever you got to do. Go ahead and you can play basketball.
The damage is done.
Yeah, the damage already done. So you could go ahead and do whatever you could do and go ahead and play basketball. We got it from here. You know what I'm saying? We opened up the door for the conversation. He opened up the door for y'all motherfuckers. So that's all he needed to do. He brought attention to that topic. He pointed y'all to a documentary. He ain't even had to say shit. He just posted it up. Really, that's literally how you supposed to move if you're in that position. That's how you supposed to move.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The door. That was like,
Yeah. You go in, open the door, and then you go back into the house, act like ain't nothing happened. Open the door.
Nothing happened.
Yeah.
I ain't cracked no door.
Yeah. Like, how these motherfuckers get in? How these motherfuckers get? I don't know I don't know how these motherfuckers got in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how these motherfuckers got in.
Now this is nonstop. And see, I ain't gonna lie though. The attention that they getting, like that was the best move to be made. Now you got IUIC making that play. That's the best move, bro, that could be made. And they like, I'm sorry, bro, but I don't want them going to General Yohana. Like I just don't want you know what I'm saying? I don't want like niggas first interaction. It's like GMS and shit.
No, we gotta play their game. We gotta play their game, Blue.
Nah, yeah.
No, the Most High don't want it to be General Yohana. That's why it's with IUIC.
Yeah.
The Most High put everything. The Most High put everything together for it to be them and not. You know what I'm saying? Because you know when General Yohana went up there, he was up there like I could not believe how this nigga was responding to these motherfuckers, bro. Because I'm from Philly. I remember General Yohana in the 90s, bro. He go back, bro. General Yohana go back, bro. Even before I knew what an Israelite was, he was the motherfucker out there in front of the gallery. They used to go in on every fucking body, bro. So he was like uncompromised. I don't know what the fuck happened to General Yohana. When that whole situation with the thing happened with at the market with some type of terrorist act, and he's like, did you ascribe to the, you know? And I'm waiting for him like, oh, he about to go in, like, you know what I'm saying? And I don't affiliate myself with any. What the fuck is this nigga talking about, man?
Like all you had to do was put it off on the Bible, bro. Like there's ways you could do it without like I felt like I know you could think of a Bible verse.
I would have just simply said that was that ISUBK out there? Do you know like what Israelite? So like, and even if he said he don't know, I would have been like, well, yeah, well, that's part of the thing. You don't come to me asking me questions about what you know somebody else is doing. What I do know is what this damn white man is doing. I know that. So ask me questions about that shit. Don't come and ask me questions about what this person doing. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm here. I've been here every day for the last 25, 30 years. This is what I've been saying to that cracker. You know what I'm saying? With all the stuff that's going on in the black community, these motherfuckers done put drugs in our community, destroyed a whole generation of people. You ain't come not one time to see what I specifically think about that. So no, that was not ISUBK that did that. You know what I'm saying? And I don't even see why you coming to me. Yeah, I don't even see why you coming to me asking me about that shit to begin with. With all the shit that you done did. You know what I'm saying? I would have been going in on him, like putting on them motherfuckers. Yeah, like you sitting up there like, no, we haven't done that. We don't condone that, and we don't.
Like, you know what? See, I go back to that 501(c)(3) shit, man.
Yeah, that pulls you, you know, is a level of comfort that 501(c)(3).
Yeah, man.
Level of comfort.
I don't see it. Like, what you doing, bro? To the point where you let that slide. Like, I just expected a lot more. Yeah, that was disappointing, man. And in general, even when his whole stance, bro, when everything hit, you know, where everybody had to stay in the house. This man was telling us we needed to go get jabbed up. I'm like, wait, what?
Yeah, bro. That was just like that when I officially said that was it right there. It was so much so
Yeah,
that
bro.
even Tazari, I was like, well, I ain't gonna get it, but y'all could,
Nah, bro, that nigga pulled scriptures, bro, like to justify that shit. Like, nigga,
come on,
what
bro.
we doing? Like,
Come on.
bruh, you was supposed to be, nigga, this the most high, nigga, judgment. Like, I was expecting a lot more, bro, and I got a lot less. Like, I tuned in, bro. I hadn't watched them in so long, and I was like, shit. I know them niggas probably going in right now. I figured them niggas was shot in yak, bruh. You know what I'm saying? Talking about your house shot, bit of beat, cracking the sky. So, man, them niggas look spooked. I was like, what the fuck? I was disappointed, bro. Them boys look spooked. I'm talking about that man told us to go ahead and get it. I said, damn, this ain't judgment. Like, man, what is the world coming to, bro? So it's like, nah, it can't be y'all. It can't be y'all. And then y'all not smooth enough, bro. Like
Yeah,
IUIC have
yeah.
been able to get a whole bunch of people to get gathered. You know what I'm saying, on one case. Y'all gotta get it together, bro.
No, but that what they thought was a blessing was the actual curse, though. Like the comfortability was the curse. It's like,
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? Because it's like, while y'all like doing that shit, these motherfuckers is going and exploring and getting. Like, I mean, when you look at that documentary, he traveled over to Africa. He went over and
yeah,
did his research. He did his due diligence and got his information together. You know what I mean? So while y'all buck dancing for the damn beast, this motherfucker was getting his shit up,
yeah.
lining his ducks together, and then he was like, okay. It says in the Quran, like it says, if you take one step towards me, I'll take two towards you and shit, right? So that was his one
Right.
step, right? So when you're talking about how the Most High works, oh yeah, I'm gonna just inspire Kyrie Irving to say what the fuck he gonna say. You know what I'm saying? Okay,
Yeah,
out of all the documentaries, it's gonna choose his documentary. You know what I'm saying? To put out there, and just think about it. That was a thought. I guarantee you, right? I could put money on this shit, Blue. That Kyrie didn't even watch the whole fucking documentary. He just
hell
seen the
nah.
fucking title and posted that shit up. I could almost bet money on that shit. I guarantee
I
you,
want to see that nigga
Kyrie
account.
ain't
Bro.
even.
I want to see
He didn't even watch that shit. He
that
seen the fucking title and posted that shit up. I put money on that shit. That
shit.
would make it
On
even that much
everything.
crazier, right?
I
That
guarantee
okay, he
that
comes
nigga
across this documentary on Amazon. What the fuck is this nigga looking at on Amazon and shit? He finds
that
his
nigga
Hebrews and Negroes, right? And say, well, damn, that's some deep shit right there. I think I'm a Hebrew. Let me just post this shit up. Boom. This shit goes crazy. The most high's
I'm telling
working,
you,
bro. That's how the most high
I
work. He
want to
work in
see a
mysterious
receipt,
ways.
bro. I guarantee that nigga, bro, everything. That nigga look. That nigga seen that shit with 3 hours. He was like, he was going to watch it.
I'm going to
He was
watch it. Yeah,
posted.
I'm going to watch it.
You know how nigga finna watch that shit. He ain't even.
And that's one thing that Shannon Sharp was calling him out on. He was like, yeah, well, explain to us. He never explained to us, coon ass Shannon Sharp. He never explained to us what he meant. Tell us what you meant when you were saying what you were saying. You just making these vague comments. The reason why he making vague comments because he ain't watched that whole damn thing. He ain't watched that shit.
Nah,
That nigga is
nigga
like,
see
you
the
know what I'm saying?
previews, like, oh shit. It's fire. This nigga ain't got 3 hours, bro. Come on. Like, where he gonna find 3 hours at during the season?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That nigga ain't got no fucking. That nigga, look, you right as fuck, bro. That nigga's like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
you
finna
seen that
watch
bitch
this
like,
shit,
let me
bro.
throw this bitch up. You know what I mean? That's it.
He
And
probably
you know,
staged this shit.
because it's an aspect of him too that just he intentionally trying to be an asshole too, like to these motherfuckers. He really
Yeah.
don't fuck with y'all like that. So I'm gonna do a little
Nah,
slick
bro.
shit. So you know what I mean? The NBA, that's how you know, right? That they got people watching these NBA players, bro. That's proof right there. Like who the fuck seen that? Like I'm on like Instagram and I'm on Twitter, like, and celebrities post shit up all the time. I just skim right through it, like, oh, what the fuck? I'll skim right over that shit. You know what I'm saying? Not
And
like
it's
looking
only
at what
one
these motherfuckers
reporter,
is
bro.
like posting and shit.
Yeah. It's one reporter, the same person that asked him about the
Yeah.
post he made randomly. Nobody else asked him about it. It's the same reporter that just asked him about the group that was outside of the Barclays Center. Same dude. So you know he on some like antagonizing shit. Like that's some troll. He trying to, you know what I'm saying? He trying to keep it going and shit. He like, yeah. So you don't think that you opened up the door and all of that for this, them to be outside? Like he trying to like get like Rico that nigga, everything. That shit real weird. I'm like, bro, no, he ain't responsible for IUIC. You are, bro. You are. I wasn't even talking to you. Like that's another thing. Just think about that. He wasn't even talking to you when he made the post. Like he talking to specific people. So it's like you was over there being nosy, bro. That's all that was. I'm gonna have to research. I'm gonna have to look up who that reporter is. I want to see how long, cause if he's just random and how long he been asking questions like this. Fact. Man, I'm telling you. You're right, bro. That ain't quote no scenes like on everything. So yeah, like to me, it's obvious. Yeah, yeah. You can always next question though, but I think it. I think though, I just wonder though how random this reporter is. Like, has he been there the whole time? Because it's just funny. He keeps asking. You know what I mean? Everybody else I noticed was asking basketball questions, but it's one reporter that want to have an Israelite discussion, and I guarantee he ain't even a Jew, Jewish, whatever. But if you listen to Kyrie, man, he doing the old Israelite, the old Hebrew shuffle, like 100%. He doing the old Hebrew shuffle, like honestly. So he doing the old Jewish community, all of that. So yeah, yeah. I think it's been a great one. I think it's a good time to go ahead and end it. Y'all make sure that y'all be around to check it out tonight. Yeah, man, that's a fact. That's a fact. That's why, man. Sometimes you gotta You know, he did what he was supposed to do. He opened up the door for him. It's on him now, you know, to move the other way. You know what I'm saying? To keep it going. So he did his job. He get back to playing basketball. Like, now they gotta show up. You know, as Israelites and be an example. So yeah. But yeah. So yeah, man, I'm gonna go ahead and get up out of here. I appreciate y'all showing up. It's definitely been a dope one for real. Definitely. Anytime, y'all already know I'm talking panels, all that. We getting up out of here on that dark side shit.
I feel the unholy spirit when it's moving through.
Dark side, dark side.
Clearing up all the lies and the rumors too.
Dark side, dark side.
You say you want my life, you gotta fight me first.
Dark side, dark side.
Come outside round here, there's nothing like church.
Dark side, dark side.
Come and get this life.
They talked about Jesus, give them something to Babylon. Just know my whole team is battle tested and battle strong. One world speaking that Tower Babel tongue. Cold Hammurabi thinking ancient Babylon. No pun intended, Reaganomics had us under avalanche. We took off like a rocket, they was praying we could never launch into the upper echelon. You can never be yourself. Every day is Comic-Con, fast money Ramadan. Who collected Comic-Con? Cold check my vital signs. Motel 6 float. Woke up with the brightest mind. Out of sight, out an idle mind. They hate it when you idolize. We living in the final times. Guess you Ellen Keller blind.
Spirit when it's moving through.
Dark side, dark side.
Clearing up all the lies and the rumors too.
Dark side, dark side.
You say you want my life, you gotta fight me first.
Dark side, dark side.
Come outside round here, there's nothing like church.
Dark side, dark side.
Come and get this life.
Put my soul on the altar, I never offer a sacrifice. The blood that we need for the lamb ain't never acting right. I take my path tonight, knowing that I might have to fight. I probably grab a knife and a 9. I guess I'm packing light, focus on the now, just as much as the afterlife. I recognize the spirit is only taking up half the fight. Stairway to heaven, he won't make it up half a flight. He working, making bacon bits, probably out on the Sabbath night. Shoot for the moon, hoping to hit a satellite. You can ask him why when they see me, they call on Adonai. When we both know at the most he telling you half a lie. Feel the transition begin to happen when passing time. I came back in the sky, just like an astronaut, to say you selling Africans out. See you and asking Mike, and it's sad to say they really had it bad for Christ. And I hear the Habasha thinking they are the half as
The
white.
spirit when it's moving through.
Dark side, dark side.
Clearing up all the lies and the rumors too.
Dark side, dark side.
You say you want my life, you gotta fight me first.
Dark side, dark side.
Come outside round here, there's nothing like church.
Dark side, dark side.
Come and get this life work.